What is going on, everyone? It's DJ Kuhl. Welcome back to another video, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at how to make a beat like Central Cee. So if you watched my last video on the channel last Sunday, you guys would know I'm a big fan of Central Cee. I really love, his beat selection, his lyrics and whatnot, so I figured why not follow up that video on Sunday where I reviewed his album with a video on how to make a beat like him. So we're gonna be doing that today. And normally, right, it seems like he samples, or the producers sample a lot for making beats like him, but I'm not gonna be sampling today. Instead, I'm gonna be using a method where I basically create my own sample and I sample myself in a way. And so it feels like it's a sample, but you don't need to go and get everything cleared and whatnot, and it's just not a hassle. So yeah, we're gonna make our own sample. And to help make this sample, I'm gonna be using this plugin called Pandora that was sent over to me by Tiger Sounds. So big thank you to Tiger Sounds for sending this over. It's got a lot of really dope sounds in here that are like specifically geared for trap and drill and other rap related genres, and it's just a really dope plugin. And along with sending me over the plugin, they've actually sent me a discount code that you guys can use to get 20 euros off. I don't know what that is in dollars because the rate kind of fluctuates, but if you use the code -20, you get 20 euros off your final purchase. And just full disclaimer, I do get a kickback for everyone who uses that code. You can help me out while getting a really cool plugin. So yeah, the sound I'm going to be using from this plugin is the guitar acoustic, and I like it because it sounds different than your normal guitar. Like, I feel like a lot of guitar sounds are sort of reused a lot, so it sounds something like this. And I'm going to be using a minor harmonic scale to create something that sounds, kind of authentic to Central Cee. And what I notice a lot in his music is they sometimes have guitars that like walk down, like they go down, so they'll go like, obviously just a little more going on than what I just played there, but it's a similar sort of pattern where they move down, a step or half step every like 4 bars or whatnot, and it kind of creates like a cool foreign sounding sample. So I'm gonna be doing something like that. I'm gonna up the BPM to 140. I'll do 142, and I'm just gonna play this in. Alright, so that all quantized and fixed up sounds like this. So I just doubled the length of it, and I'm going to go in and add in some other sounds to make it seem like a more complete sample. So next I'm going to hop into this XR Orchestra plugin. I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to grab the thick basses. Turn it down a little, or lower it a little bit. It sounded pretty thick. So basically, all I'm going to do with this sound is I'm just going to layer it underneath here to give it a little texture. Just like this. I'll fix the EQs later, but just wanted to give it a little more texture. We'll throw a quick EQ on here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw a higher octave on, but I'm going to come down to the velocity here, and I'm going to lower the velocity significantly. That's going to give us a little more texture than what we got before. I'll also put an EQ on the guitar here. Alright, so I got a new instance of Pandora here, and I grabbed this vocal preset called Voice Flower. And this sounds actually really dope. It sounds like natural, kind of recorded in, so I'm going to layer that. Actually, I'm going to clone this so I can have 2 patterns, and one will have the vocal and one won't. So let's try messing around with the vocal in here. I'll mess with the volume later. changing up. We're still keeping it the same notes that are in the chord that we're playing. It's not like we're doing anything crazy, but it's just adding a little more depth, something a little interesting for the listener. Gonna do some EQing. So I'm going to name these patterns. I'm going to name one no vocal, and I'll name the separate one, or the second one, vocal. And basically, to get this to sample form, I'm just going to right click on the pattern, or I can right click on the track here, and I can do consolidate this track. From track start, I'm going to make sure to cut the remainder, and for some reason OBS doesn't pick this menu up, but it's going to export. We got an audio file now. I'm going to do the same thing with the vocal, but I'll render that through the pattern just to show you guys that it does the same thing as rendering it through the track. And we got vocal up here. So now I'm going to mess around. I'm going to turn this on to stretch so I can mess around with the pitch of the sample and the BPM, so I can get something that sounds more sampled like as opposed to something that I just created. So let's start messing around with the pitch. I'm liking going higher up. I'm going to copy and paste this and see how the vocals sound with this new pitch, and I'll stretch it as well. Ooh. So that is sounding nice and like sampled almost. So I'm going to mess around with the BPM too to get kind of more of that sampled, stretched, warped feel. And let's go up to 45 first. Nah, 146. This is it. That's hard. Alright, so I'm just going to run both of these into a new slot on the mixer here, and I'm just going to give a little reverb to make it seem like it doesn't completely cut off. Not delay bank, I misclicked. Let's hop onto the reverb, just throw a little reverb on there just to make it feel like it's a little more natural sounding. There we go, that sounded nice. Alright, so now that we got our little sample all set here, I'm going to go find some drum sounds and we can start messing with that. Alright guys, so I am back. I've grabbed a bunch of drum sounds, so I'm just going to jump right into it with this ghosty snare here, and I'm going to make 2 8-bar patterns because I got some other snares I'm thinking about layering in here. I got some snares here and there, and we'll just kind of mess with it and see what we can get. Just make it a little more interesting than just your normal snare pattern. I'll layer this snare. Nah, I'm thinking actually that snare. Alright, so we got the snare. I'm going to move on to starting with some of the hats. So I got this sort of hat here. I went and modified it a bunch, turned some knobs till it sounded good, basically. So sounds like that, and I'm just gonna go in and I'm gonna clone this a bunch, and I'll just modify it to get a more unique sort of sound as opposed to just your generic shit. Alright, we get bass sort of hi-hats in, so I'm gonna start layering some other perks. And got this sort of snare here, kind of a perk snare. And I'm gonna put this in somewhere. Get the velocity up a little bit. We got a second snare here, but I'm going to move on to this perk here, and I'm going to do what BK did on his Beat the Clock challenge, kind of put it at the end, maybe do some panning with it. But I really like that sort of style he was doing with, so, you know, I'll go with something like that on the end here. Can do the panning, and I'm gonna mess with the volume on that. Yeah, that's dumb loud. I think I'm just gonna clone this actually. I kind of like the bounce that is given right now, and we'll just throw that on the end here and modify it a little over here just to make it not too repetitive. Alright, I'm gonna move on next to putting in the 808. So I got this gotcha sub bass here. You know, I already messed with the envelope a little bit just to save some time, and sounds like this. And I'm just going to mess with that a little bit. The good thing about this pattern is I made it, so I know where what key it's in and what chords we're going to be playing. Even with the key change, you can figure it out. Down to A, and then we hit the A flat or G sharp, as FL Studio's calling it here. We go just back doing the same progression again. A flat, and I'm gonna make it go kind of crazy at the end here. First we got to get all that in there. I know there's probably way more efficient ways of doing this with shortcuts than FL Studio, but you know, we just keeping it original here. Oh, that sounded nice. Alright, so all I'm doing here is I'm making sure I'm staying in key. I've talked about how to find the key in other videos, but just a quick refresher, you can come up to this little arrow up here that I'm currently highlighting. You click on it, and I don't think OBS is not picking this up. And you go down to helpers, you do scale highlighting, and you can click automatic, and it'll pop up and tell you the scale in the corner. If you look at the top left corner, you can see we're in G sharp minor, and that's going to be harmonic. I hear so many people trying to make these really dope 808 slides, but they'll hop in and out of the key as much as they like. You got to make sure you know what key you're in and just stay in that key. Alright, so now that we got the 808s done, I'm going to add in a new pattern here, and I'm going to start messing with this ghosty Visa kick. Sounds really good. And what I like to do with this kick is I like to go in and I like to boost it a little bit, and I like to turn the volume all the way up. And we can just see how that feels with the soft clipper on, if I can actually click where I want to click and put on the soft clipper. But let's just try that with just no other edits. Sounded good to me. So something you can do, or something that I notice, is when I have a lot of kicks together, like they'll all be louder as opposed to kicks that'll go like, and then spaced out. You know what I'm saying? So a way you can fix that and still get the soft clipping effect is you pull up a compressor, right? You don't change the threshold, but you maybe adjust the ratio a little bit. And then what you want to do is you want to intentionally clip the insert that the kick's in. So this is where the kick is, so we're going to intentionally clip it. But what the compressor is going to do is going to keep it all around the same volume, so it's clipping equally, and it doesn't sound, you know, like one sounds way louder than the other, and we're having way more clipping going on. So, you know, we can mess with this, and it'll prevent it from like going crazy. It'll keep it more confined. So you see, that sounds a lot more controlled than before. Alright, so one of the last things I'm going to do is I'm going to add in the drill gunshot. You know, it's not a drill song without the gunshot in it. So just going in and messing with the velocity so it fades out like so. If it'll play in the right area. Now that we got all the drum sounds done, I've started to somewhat arrange the beat, but what I want to do is add in a synth bass here. So I went into Pandora and I grabbed this one called Bass Ghost, and it sounds like this. It sounds kind of cool, so I'm going to make a new pattern real quick. I'm going to hop in here, and I'm just going to drag in the notes like that. Just, you know, simple, nice little intro section. And then we can go in and arrange the beat. So there we go. We got synth bass. One more thing before I go and arrange the beat is I'm going to come up to pattern 4. I'm going to right click on it and I'm going to click split by channel. And what that does is, you see, it splits all those sounds that we had in that one hat channel, and it split it into each individual sound. So we got the tap drill hat, we got the lyre snare, we got the bit snare, and we got the SS Perk 7, and that is just going to help us be able to remove certain elements and add in certain elements, you know, as we please. And it's much easier than just cutting and pasting it into new patterns. So shout out to FL for that feature. So yeah, now that we got that done, I'm going to go and arrange, mix, master the beat, and I'll be back to present you guys the final product. Alright everyone, I'm back. I arranged this beat and mixed and mastered it. And starting off with sounds I added, all I did was add this transition effect. Pretty sure I've used this in other videos, so you know, nothing super crazy. And then we just start with a very simple sort of arrangement here. You know, we got the two sections I showcased before. You know, we got the melody synth bass. Got some gunshots building up to the chorus here. We got just the guitar loop, guitar and strings, and we got basically all of the drums except for 2, which we bring in when we bring in the loop with the vocal, just to, you know, make it more hype and more exciting for the artist. And then we drop it out a little bit, you know, take out some stuff when the verse starts. We have some cuts here and there to make it a little more interesting. A lot of gunshots, and then we have a little section here, like we do over in the beginning, where it's just the synth bass and the melody, and it's just something, you know, a little like bridge or pre-chorus sort of thing. Very similar deal in the second verse here, except I just have different stuff in different places, so very similar to the first verse. And, you know, we got the last chorus here, and then we just got melodic outro here with no drums. So yeah, now that I've explained it to you guys, I'm going to play you a segment of the beat. So yeah, that is how to make a beat like Central Cee in FL Studio, and how to like sample yourself if you know, not a big sort of sampling guy. So that is going to be it for the video today, guys. I hope you did enjoy. If you did, you could go down in the comments, you know, let me know what you think. If you want me to cover other topics on this channel, let me know. And while you're down there, if you could drop a like and subscribe, that would be great. I was on my YouTube analytics, right? And only around 8% of the people who watch my videos are actually subscribed. So go down right now, hit that subscribe button, ding the bell, so you guys can be notified when I upload next. Now, as I said, that's going to be it for me today, and I'll see you guys later.